All right, Leo, welcome to your monthly horoscope for March 2015. My name is Athen. So this is a powerful month. We've got the Uranus Pluto square going exact for the last time here. This has been the ongoing theme of these two energies for the past 3 years. And so now the final aspect, which is the aspect of integration, final culmination, and moving forward from that point on. Now, it's not only that, we have the fast-moving planets just so happeningly going over Uranus while this is happening, activating the Uranus side of it. You recently also had the South Node very close to Uranus as well, so the fast-moving planets are going over the South Node, and of course with the Sun that does mean a solar eclipse. So with the eclipse energy, with Uranus Pluto square, with these fast-moving planets going over both the South Node and Uranus, it's a very powerful month. Now it all starts on the 1st, when we have Venus going over the South Node. So let's look at what the big picture stuff is again. You've had Uranus transiting your 8th house, which is helping you gain more freedom when it comes to the deeper elements of life, of transparency, of transformation, of change in general. You know, if things are changing in our life, then that gives us the greatest sense of freedom. And that's what the 8th house signifies. It signifies change. So it's embracing that change, but there's also a lot of old belief systems and limitations that might be holding you back in regards to the 8th house. So this can be some old subconscious drives, some old ideas about transformation, perhaps old parts of you wanting the deeper elements of life that are perhaps more destructive or more of the negative qualities of the 8th house. Because the South Node is the qualities we're moving from, the energies we're moving from. And so since it's where we're coming from, it's that sort of negative, it brings out the negative side, okay, of that particular house and sign. So in this sense, the 8th house, perhaps just getting too deep with things, again, too transformative, too disruptive, that energy might be trying to come in, you see. But whatever it is, okay, this is a month of releasing from that energy and having freedom when it comes to change, and it comes from embracing change, wanting change with Uranus in that 8th house. Now that's been squaring up to Pluto, who's been transiting your 5th house, so you guys are stepping into the power of your self-expression, okay? You know, expressing yourself, having fun in a way where what you're doing and what you're expressing is very important actually, and it's very powerful, and that's what the Pluto energy shows us, is how there is a tremendous power, and with that power there's a responsibility with a particular area, and for this area it's your self-expression. So stepping into the power to express yourself, to have fun, to enjoy your life, to see that's what life is about enjoyment, and then from that moving forward, you see. So these two energies squaring up to each other, it's like on one hand you want the freedom, you know, of change, and then on the other hand you might have the self-expression power to take back that part of your life, or the enjoyment part of your life. And so merging them together has been this sort of ongoing thing for the past 3 years. But now it's the final aspect of it, final integration. And now with the fast-moving planets going over Uranus, it's really triggering that freedom element of the change. Okay, so Venus over the South Node, starting here on the 1st, is wanting to release yourself, wanting to free up, you know, these old patterns, these old thought forms, these old ideas, these old concepts that might be holding you back. So it's a positive element. In fact, this whole first part of the month is very positive in leading up to the actual transformative stuff, which is happening mid-month and a little bit later. Okay, so it starts with wanting it. Then Mercury opposes up to Jupiter on the 1st as well, while Jupiter trines up to Uranus. So there is this wanting excitement. I think a lot of us are wanting change. Okay, and this is what this is signifying, is that you are wanting change. You are wanting to create some truth in your life, some meaning in your life in many ways. This is what the 8th house signifies. Wanting to be more transparent with yourself, with your relationships, to open up, to be more raw, more vulnerable with yourself and others. Okay, and that's how the month is unfolding. And you have a lot of optimism about this. Okay, that's what the Jupiter element is showing you. And this optimism is coming from that Jupiter in your 12th, okay, which is showing you the abundance and opportunities that come along the spiritual path, that come through presence, being in the now moment, you see, with Jupiter there. Now he is retrograde, so perhaps it's not completely obvious right now, but if you look at last year, been a lot of opportunities for you to expand spiritually. Okay, so these opportunities, this abundance, this optimism is assisting you this month, especially the first part and especially from the 1st to the 4th when Jupiter trines up to this Uranus. So step into that change, wanting the excitement. That's going to be the flowing energy. Then on the 4th, we've got Venus conjuncting up to Uranus and Mars conjuncting up to the South Node. Now in terms of Venus, this is now where you're wanting freedom. Okay, you're wanting to break free. All right, not just of the old patterns, but you want the excitement, right? So that's activating this month, getting the month started. Then Mars goes over the South Node, signifying that there's motivation here. Okay, now this is where things start to become driven, all right, to release from those 8th house things, all right, or having more freedom in regards to the 8th house, more transparency. So that drive is there, all right, from the 4th onward. So utilize it. Then on the 5th, we have a full moon in your sign, in Leo, this month, okay? Last month, we had a new moon in your 7th house of Aquarius, perhaps starting some new beginnings with relationships, new perspectives, new insights, new understandings. Now that's culminating here on the 5th, which has to do with an understanding about self, okay? So the full moon in Leo, it's a great time for self-understanding, a great time for feeling vibrant and alive, and that's what I'm seeing here with this sort of energy, is you guys having this vibrance, self-expression, life force energy that is motivating you, assisting you, hopefully, in creating these changes and taking that power in your life to make changes, wanting those changes. Then on the 8th, we've got Mercury going into Aquarius, which is that 7th house. So I think you'll be thinking about relationships. I think relationships is definitely the sphere, you know, this month has been. So I think you'll continue to think about those, and that's laying a sort of foundation of the whole month and of the next 6 months, really, with these with this solar eclipse energy. But right now of the month, of understanding more about relationships, okay, in general. Then on the 9th, we've got Mars trining up to Jupiter. Now this is where the drive meets the ambition, all right? So there's a lot going on in this first part of the month. Up until around this point, lots of this positive energy from Jupiter. It's about spirituality. It's about wanting presence and peace. It's about wanting to tap into the now moment, to have simplicity in your life. All of this is channeling positive energy towards that Mars in the 8th, which is helping you get deeper, more meaningful, building a life that's more true and meaningful to you, you see. Very powerful for you Leos. Then on the 11th, we have Mars going over Uranus, okay, activating the Uranus-Pluto square. So with Mars going over Uranus, this initiates it because from the 11th to the 22nd, we've got the exact point of the Uranus-Pluto square, the middle part of this month, and it starts with that Mars energy. Mars in the 8th, wanting the transparency, wanting the real truth, the raw, the depth, the meaning. And that activates the opportunity here now, middle of the month, to make these changes, to take the power of your self-expression, the power to have fun, the power to enjoy your life back, and to make these changes in regards to the deeper elements of life, you see. So this is it. This is the last aspect, all right? So we want to step into these energies. We want to assume the energies of Uranus, which is not allowing, you know, our freedom, our true self is the most important thing. If we don't have our freedom, if we don't have spiritual freedom in this sense, because it is in Pisces, then, you know, what are we doing? We have to have freedom. We're just not happy if we don't have it. It's that simple. And if we can't express ourselves, if we can't step into the power to enjoy our life, if our life can't be fun and playful, then what are we doing there? So this is the month, guys. This is the last month to make these changes. Lots of positive energy from the fast-moving planets early on in the month, leading up to it, okay? So stepping into that change element here. On the 12th, I think we're all going to start to enjoy this whole process, because this is the thing I'm seeing in this chart, is like once we get the ball moving, then it becomes enjoyable. And you know, that's when we can really start to, it's like working out. It's like you start working out and you start to feel good about it. And you're like, oh, this isn't so bad. It was harder just to get started. You see, same type of energy here. Venus going into Aries, okay, which is your guys' 9th house. right here on the 12th, while this Uranus-Pluto square is going on, is signifying that there's a shift happening. And it's a shift from the 8th house, which is all this transparency, depth stuff going on, into the expansion, into the life path. Because we have to transform, we have to go through transformations occasionally. And what's happening is you're going through major transformations right now. And that's creating a new beginning. And what that new beginning is a new life path, a new destiny, a new direction. Okay, so with Venus going in there, it's about enjoying it, and she's going to be in there for the remainder of the month and into April. So enjoy the expansion, enjoy opening up your horizons. This is spiritual, mental, physical horizons. It's a transformation that takes place with your enjoyment this month on the 12th. On the 14th, we've got Saturn going retrograde. Something's being reflected for the next five months or so in regards to your 4th house. You recently had Saturn going into your 4th house of home, family, of your emotional body, your emotional roots, your foundation in life. And so now it's thinking about it. How have your structures been going for you that you've been setting up in regards to home and family? How's that stuff going? It's a reflection time. And I think that has a part to play in all this transformational stuff, because you guys are building some sort of foundation with home and family here, all right? Or with your emotional body. Your roots, anchor, because home is where you are. Right? So reflecting on those structures that you're building from the 14th onward. And this is a point now too where things become much more reflective, and where a lot of information is being built or being gathered, being understood. Because it's not until these transformations happen and we start to put energy into it do we really start to understand it. And that's what I'm seeing, is as we put this energy forward, we start to understand more and more about it. And it starts on the 14th when the sun goes into Pisces, which is your 8th house. This is then now illuminating the deeper elements of life, right? The transparency, all those 8th house things, the raw, the truth, the openness. And the sun's going to be there for the next 30 days. And that's your ruler, okay? So there's an expression here. There's an enjoyment to be had when you're connecting to the deeper elements of life. And with your ruler in Pisces, this is a spiritual process. Understanding more about yourself on a subconscious or unconscious or spiritual level, you see, behind the scenes here with Pisces. But it is actually very subconscious for you, because it's the 8th house. It's your past emotions, your past conditioning, your habits, these types of things, you see. Now on the 18th, we've got Mercury conjuncting up to Neptune, which is furthering spiritual understanding, but this has to do with relationships. You've had Neptune transiting your 7th house of relationships, helping you connect, be more compassionate, and give through your one-on-one connections. Now with Mercury going over there, some understanding about that as a spiritual element, you see. On the 20th, we have the solar eclipse. New beginnings, that's what it is, the new moon energy. And it's very important new beginnings, because it's a shift to our life path, and it's in many ways an unfoldment of the next 6 months. So all these transformations and changes regarding your 8th house are spawning a new beginning, okay? And that's where the new moon or the solar eclipse is, in that 8th. So reflecting around this time, how can you connect to your life more? How can you be more in tune with your work, with your relationships, with your home, with your family? How can you be more transparent, more open? Understanding more about yourself, understanding more about your psyche, your emotions, your subconscious, initiations, influences, you see. So the solar eclipse energy, we want to just listen. We want to just pay attention. So around the 20th, and then on the 22nd, the Uranus-Pluto square stops going exact, all right? And from that point forward, it's implementation, you see. But the implementation will only be as good as the understanding that we gain intuitively around that solar eclipse. Now on the 23rd, Mars goes into Aries, where I think a lot of us are going to, again, get that ball moving, and that drive is really starting to feel good. And perhaps it's from some of these understandings that we got during the solar eclipse, you see, motivating us. And it's motivating us, and for you, it's in your 9th house. Okay, again, shifting from the transformative elements into the life path stuff. And then that's what's leading you into this whole 6-month phase, is into April, lots of elements involving life path, your destiny, your adventure of life, right? And also philosophy. There's a drive here to understand philosophy, wisdom, spiritual studies, spiritual teachings, university, travel, overseas things, anything that opens you up. So good time to do that. Lots of drive and motivation there. Now on the 27th, we got Mercury going into Pisces, which is your 8th house. Just thinking more about what you've learned perhaps, or learning more in regards to the deep connections of life, what's truly meaningful to you. Then on the 30th, the last aspect of the month, we have your ruler, the sun, going over the South Node, illuminating perhaps some of these old ideas, old notions, old things that now hopefully you've transitioned and are slowly starting to move from. The South Node is where we're moving from, where we were learning a lot in regards to our past life and who we are, but we're no longer moving in that direction. We're moving into a brand new direction of the North Node, okay, in which for you guys, the North Node's in your 2nd house of your sense of self-worth, of value, of abundance, and these types of things, which is the bigger picture of the overall year. All right, Leo, hope you guys have a fantastic month. Thanks again for all of your support. If you have any specific questions, please let me know. If you'd like a personal reading, please get in touch. Do check out my weekly horoscopes for this week and also the daily for today. And I will see you next time. Take care.